delegates of the Senate, a tragedy has occurred.
Which started right here with the taxation of trade routes and has now engulfed our entire planet in the oppression of the Trade Federation.
This is outrageous! I object to the Senator's statements.
Today we're going to be looking at Arkship Design, how you're going to build and manage your own Arkships. We're going to be looking at Waylines and Logistic Ships, Waystations. How are our trade routes going to be established and how are they going to meander through other empires? We're going to look at different pacts we might form with other empires alongside one of the brand new origins, the Sacred Path. This video is going to be long and extensive, so make sure you're settled in comfortably and you've probably got a drink or a snack. Before we dive into what's new, don't forget the entirety of the Stellaris catalogue is on sale right now until the 22nd of May. You can get 70% off the base game and up to 50% off all of the DLC. You can use our link to the Paradox Interactive store to get your Steam keys and also help to support this channel, or use our code MONTUPLAYS at the checkout. Without any further ado though, let's dive into what is coming with Stellaris Nomads. Arkships act as colonies, shipyards, and hybrid military/science ships for nomadic empires. Today we're going to be focusing on scientific Arkships, with civilian and military Arkships being explored in the future. To begin with, when you create a nomadic empire, the Arkship selection screen replaces the homeworld selection screen. Here we can see the Commonwealth of Man if they chose an Arkship as their toggle. Don't forget now, Arkships Nomadic is a toggle at the start of the game. You can then choose, it looks like, civilian, scientific, or military. If you choose scientific Arkship, you'll get some unique modifiers per Arkship tier. I'm not sure if this is just for scientific Arkships or if this means all Arkships get a bonus based on which focus you're going with at the start. For science, you seem to be getting +1 sensor range, +1 ship hyperlane detection range, and +5% survey speed per Arkship tier. The reason they mention that tiers is that Arkships come in 3 tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 2 and 3 get access to deep scan. Again, I'm not sure if this is just the scientific Arkships, Tier 2 and 3, or all Arkships if you choose a scientific Arkship to start with. We also got Arkship Preference as our habitability type. I assume that one has 0% habitability on anything that isn't an Arkship, though maybe habitats have high habitability as well, alongside ring worlds, not sure. Here you can see the 3 different tiers of scientific Arkships. Tier 1 on the bottom right is kind of small and stunted, Tier 2 looking quite long, and then Tier 3 absolutely massive. It seems like to make it easier on our eyes to understand what tier an Arkship is, they've added 3 rotational ring segments around the center of the ship where it changes from the living area, the nice continents type area, into possibly that's an engine, maybe there's something else going on there as well. But they have the number of rings associated, it seems, with the tier of the Arkship. The same is, I'm pretty sure, going to be true for military and civilian Arkships as well. The devs have also given us a sneak peek at the other Tier 3 Arkships. So on the left we have that Science Arkship, long and angular with only 2 habitable segments. The midsection is the Arkship clearly from the trailer. Also, this is the one that I think looks most like the Citadel in Mass Effect. This has 3 segments, that's the civilian. I'm fairly confident, though it could be the military. And finally on the bottom right we've got something that's a lot more angular, a lot longer and pointier. That I believe is the military Arkship, though possibly it's the civilian and the center one is military. So from the get-go, you can choose your starting Arkship. Over the course of the game, you will be able to research the other Arkship classes in addition to technologies that enable the construction of new Arkships or upgrading the tier of any Arkship you own. Although the 3 Arkship classes differ in specialization, they all carry the colonies of nomadic empires, act as mobile shipyards, they all have a shipyard, they all come equipped with strikecraft and point defenses, and they enable unique fleet orders. Nomadic empires also have access to the Arkship Development Council agenda, which replaces the Infinite Opportunities agenda as your starting agenda. This one gives you an initial modifier, it seems, of some Arkship sublight speed and evasion, so you can get where you're going faster. And then when you launch it, you'll get 25% progress towards Arkship construction. The exact modifiers provided by that Arkship development agenda are dependent on your starting Arkship class. Thus, for scientific Arkships, we gain the speed modifiers, but we get different ones for economic and military. As we progress through the technology tree, the agenda grants progress in all Arkship technologies, and these are the ones you can see on your screen now. Starting off, we have Arkship Construction, which allows you to build more Arkships, it seems. Then the Tier 2 is Arkship Engineering, though it seems tech cost here is a bit all over the show. Finally, we have Arkship Mastery, allowing you to get the Arkship Mastery upgrade. I'm assuming that's Tier 3 Arkships, whereas Arkship Engineering is Tier 2 and Arkship Construction is Tier 1. We also get access to the Devastator Mount and Capital Shipyard Arkship modules. We'll get into those modules in a little bit. Overall, though, we don't know how many Arkships we will be able to construct. Given it says megastructure, this may mean we are limited to just one of each Arkship type. One military, one scientific, one engineering. If that is the case, then these empires are going to be drastically underpowered, given that they can only have a maximum of 3 colonies throughout the entire game. If that's not the case, does that mean we can build more than one megastructure of each type? Question mark. We'll also need to research technologies in order to be able to build civilian, scientific, and military Arkships, I'm assuming other than our starting class. I'm guessing that with our starting class, we will already have that technology unlocked, though maybe not. All Arkships in the game get access to a wider array of fleet orders than regular ships. The top 4 here should be familiar. They are Bombardment Stance, Build Megastructure, so your Arkships will be able to build new Arkships, I'm guessing, given that Arkships are a megastructure, and additionally possibly build regular megastructures as well. We'll also be able to build Waystations with our Arkships too. Then we have Fleet Stance, which can both select the Fleet Stance and, if you're a military class Arkship, do something as yet unspecified. There's a lot of redacted info here that will be unveiled as we get through the other Arkship classes. Finally, Fleet Automation is available for all Arkships because all of them can do surveying, it seems. Ironically, yes, there is a commander commanding this Arkship, but this commander loves to survey, and this does mean that it seems commanders of Nomads can do surveying too. They've even got the trait for surveying. Tianzeng there has the bonus speed trait for surveying. Right, on the bottom row we have Survey, which can be done with either a scientist or a commander in charge. You can have either in charge of your Arkship. You can also do a deep scan. That's the next option. This is a more thorough version of Survey, so this is new. Deep Scan has a chance to reveal previously undetected resources, anomalies, or archaeological sites. Although celestial objects can be deep scanned multiple times, the chance of a discovery drops for each successive deep scan. This also does something if you are a civilian class Arkship, but the devs haven't told us what yet. In order to do a deep scan, you need to be a scientific Arkship of tier 2 or 3, or be equipped with an advanced sensor array, or equipped with the subspace imaging Spinal mount. Spinal mounts are something that all tier 3 Arkships seem to have access to. Like Survey, this order requires the Arkship fleet does have a leader in charge of it. The next 2 buttons we actually don't know anything about. One of them looks like it's something to do with mining. They actually both look like they have something to do with mining. One is drilling, probably asteroids or something in orbit. The next looks to be some sort of surface stripping of the planet. If you've got any ideas or you want to speculate what these 2 next buttons do, please let me know in the comments. The final button on the bottom right there is the Spinal mount ability. Most Spinal mounts that can be constructed on an Arkship grant an additional special ability. We should all note that Arkships cannot research anomalies, do archaeological sites, or astral rifts. They can't disappear into an astral rift, but they can complete some special projects. This is because the devs didn't want our entire colony being eaten by a dimensional horror or whatever other evil the content designers have made for the last decade. For researching anomalies, archaeological sites, astral rifts, and special projects, nomadic empires still have access to science ships, so you can still build science ships as a nomadic empire. If you are worried that we won't be able to design our Arkships like star bases, you don't need to worry about that as much. Why is that? Look, we have Arkship Design and Upgrading. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CNS Unity. This is the 4th tab in planetary management, it seems. You've got infrastructure management, economy, ship controls, and then holdings. As Arkships are unique, the devs felt it appropriate to give them a custom UI for their design and upgrading, which is found in the ship controls tab of the colony UI for Arkships. This tab replaces the armies tab. Does this mean that Arkships don't have any armies? Wait a minute. Yes, they do. I can see assault armies on the right there. Okay, fine. They still have assault armies, but they have shipyards as well. Also, notice the top of the UI, which shows the Arkship class and tier, the current armor, shields, pops, and cloaking detection. Your Arkships can't actually cloak, it seems, which I think is sad. I think Arkships should be able to cloak. God damn it, give me a mod where I can cloak my Arkships. I'd like them to be able to do that, thank you. But at the moment you can just do detection. Why can't we cloak Arkships? That would be both terrifying and fantastic. To the right, you have buttons to upgrade the Arkship tier and view the currently equipped ship components. That's what the kind of view bit is. Now, it does seem with the ship components, we've got access to systems, armor, and shields, but we don't have direct control over which weapons go on there. Unless I'm wrong. Oh, I am wrong. We'll find out in a moment how I'm wrong. You can also see in this UI we have a contract, Nomad contracts we can view, all of the ship abilities here, alongside the fact that we can have both a commander in charge of the tactical side of things and a fleet ambassador who's probably going to be a governor on the planet. Maybe this is actually fleet ambassador which is different to governor. Maybe we can have a governor, a fleet ambassador, and a tactical commander, all three. That would be pretty darn wild. But this is somewhat like a starbase. We've got modules available, a spinal mount, those are kind of like starbase buildings, but also systems, it seems. And we'll find out a little bit more in a moment about the different system types. Here we can see the cost of upgrading an Arkship. Upgrading it to tier 2 is going to cost 5,000 alloys and 250 influence and take 900 days. That's pretty quick. This will drastically increase the size of the possible colony on the Arkship, plus 9 districts, wow, and give you an extra 40% habitability. Oh, okay. Lots more armor and shield, more evasion chance, give you more Waystation resources being transferred each month. We'll find out a little bit more about that in a moment. A little bit more sensor range and ship hyperlane detection range, alongside +4 station modules and +4 station buildings. Oh, wow. Okay, so actually it looks like Tier 2 unlocks all of the modules and 6 of the buildings, maybe? And then we also get the spinal mount, possibly with the Tier 3. If you were to view the weapons and defenses of the Arkship, that button on the top right we saw earlier in the Arkship Design, you'd get this screen, which looks very much like a ship inspect. We can see here the Arkship is dealing 65 damage every day, 5% evasion, which is nothing. It has 100 speed, which is very, very low at the moment. Just under 4,000 shields and armor and 2,500 hull points. This is slightly stronger than early Starbase, but overall it's very, very weak. We've not even got proper strike craft. Those are just the scout strike craft. Wow, an early Arkship does suck. Anything could kill this pretty damn easily. To install additional components or add more functionality to the Arkship, we can build either internal systems or external modules. The category of systems are aura emitters, colony support, defenses, economic support, naval support, and utilities. So it seems like we'll have to choose if we specialize our colony on the Arkship or if we specialize the actual ship itself and give it more defenses, make it better in combat. You know, is our Arkship more of a colony or is it more like Picard's Enterprise? Yes, there are children living on board, but we're going to fly off into a battle and blow up some Borg. Because this is first and foremost a warship. As an example of one of the categories opened up, here we have the Ancient Suspension Field module. This will add 3 large Ancient Suspension Field components to the Arkship. Basically, this is one of the defenses subsections, and it seems like this is what they're doing. You can design your Arkship's defenses and weapons, but you have to choose what kind you're having, and then you'll get them kind of in batches of 3. I don't think that's massively a big problem, not overall at least. We can see that they've split the weapons modules into energy weapons, missile weapons, naval support, point defense, projectile weapons, strikecraft, and utilities, and I'm guessing they will basically upgrade the weapon to the most advanced you have technologically, but otherwise you'll choose, do I want a kinetic weapon? Do I want an autocannon? Do I want a laser? Do I want plasma? Do I want disruptors? Do I want proton or neutron launchers? If we can do that, I hope to God they import this into starbases afterwards. If this comes to starbases so we can finally, with a fine-tooth comb, design our own starbases, that would be a godsend. Please, devs, please. We can also see what is in the utilities part of this. So we have the advanced sensor array here, which increases the effectiveness of the sensors. You'll get +1 sensor range, +1 hyperlane detection range, the deep scan ability, and 15% survey speed. That is kind of crap compared to weapons. I'd probably rather a big gun to shoot stuff out of the sky, but getting faster survey in the early game might be worth it. It's only 100 alloys. Yes, it does cost 25 rare crystals, but only 100 alloys is really quite cheap to change these modules around. Possibly, if we only have a limited number of Arkships, we might be having to constantly micromanage the changing of small modules to make them do whatever it is we want to do. If that is the case, that'll be a little bit boring in terms of game design, though I'd rather be able to do that than not be able to have abilities and swap them around if I need to. Once we get to tier 3, we can equip a single spinal mount located between the habitable arms of the Arkship. These are powerful late game installations designed to be mobile kilo structures. Today they're going to show off the Capital Shipyard and Subspace Imager. Whilst we're looking at Capital Shipyard, I just want to run through the other types of spinal mounts so you at least know the names. We are getting the Planetary Reprocessor. We'll look at that next week, it seems. I'm assuming that one's going to allow us to eat planets and turn them into resources. The Devastator mount. Now, I'm assuming that's a giant weapon designed to shoot at planets, possibly. I'm guessing that is the image right at the top at the moment. The one that looks like a giant Death Star ray. Somewhat like Palpatine, let's put one of these Death Star rays on every single one of our ships. Excellent. Everyone loved Star Wars Episode 9, didn't they? But then we've also got the Exodus Jump Spinal Mount and the Stellar Engine Spinal Mount. I'm guessing that the Stellar Engine might be related to the Stellar Cannon megastructure that's coming with Stellaris Nomads. If we can put a Stellar Cannon onto one of each of our Arkships and then shoot them across the galaxy, oh my god, that's terrifying. That's honestly, utterly terrifying. The Capital Shipyard seems pretty tame though. We'll get +4 build queue capacity, plus 50% infrastructure build speed on the planet, so it's really good for the planet being built a bit faster, plus 100 ship starting experience, and it allows capital ship construction. What exactly are capital ships? Good question. I don't actually rightly know yet. We could also place down the Subspace Imaging Array. Again, this one doesn't seem as powerful as things like, I don't know, the Stellar Engine. I want to know more about the Stellar Engine. Subspace Imaging Array, you get +5 base intel level. That's pretty good. 3 of these would give you 15. Not terrible. You'll also get +3 sensor range on stations, +6 ship hyperlane detection range, +15 tracking, and +6 detection strength, alongside the deep scan and subspace image system. With enough of these, we can apparently unveil the entire galaxy. I suppose knowing what's ahead of you is a lot more important if you're a nomadic empire like Intel. Knowing if there is a problem in another system 4, 5, 10 jumps away would be really useful so you can avoid the problem. Here we can see a scientific tier 3 Arkship equipped with 6 advanced sensor array modules. I think the bottom left there is 3 sensor array modules. That kind of segment chunk, there's 3 of them, and I suspect 3 on the other side with an engine behind. That's the sensor array modules, and then we can see the spinal mount in the middle, a subspace imaging array spinal mount. In addition to the modifiers this provides, it also enables the subspace image system fleet order. This allows the Arkship to deep scan an entire system all at once. Okay, that sounds really strong. With a much higher chance of success. while also having the chance to discover previously undiscovered hyperlanes or wormholes. Ladies and gentlemen, we can now change the map. Holy crap, everybody stop, everybody stop. The Subspace Imaging Array Spinal Mount allows us to image an entire system and possibly discover hyperlanes and wormholes, add in new hyperlanes and wormholes into the galaxy. Oh my god, this is brutal. Imagine you've built a fantastic choke point and a Nomad Empire comes along and goes, oh, I'm going to do a contract for you. While I'm here, bada bing, bada boom, I've connected your capital up to a fanatic purifier. Or maybe it's now adjacent to a xenophobic fallen empire. Enjoy, bye-bye, I'm out of here. Oh, that could be so delicious. Oh my goodness me. It's going to be quite situational overall, but could be absolutely hilarious and terrifying. If nomadic empires are doing this to me, most of the time I think I might want them to not be in my empire, to not be changing the state of the galaxy. Thank you very much. I'm not saying I'm anti-nomad immigration. I'm just saying we should build a wall and shoot them all at the border. That's all I'm saying. If they're gonna bring lots of crime because they're building these new hyperlanes and wormholes that are gonna bring fanatic purifiers, they're bringing fallen empires, xenophobic ones. Some of them I assume are good nomads, but overall, I'm pretty sure I'm not into having them do this to us. Absolutely not. And if you're enjoying this video, please spinal mount that like button. We are getting a new ship type for nomadic empires, the Logistic Ships. These replace construction ships for nomadic empires. They are primarily used to construct new waystations, collect resources from waystations. As you can see here, they have a stockpile capacity. We'll get into exactly how that works, I think, in a moment with waystations. And they can do special projects that require construction ships. Also, they have some special interaction with civilian class Arkships, but we don't know more about that yet. Although logistic ships can construct megastructures, as we can see here, they are incapable of building new Arkships. Unlike construction ships, the maximum number of logistic ships a nomadic empire can support is restricted by their technologies and the waylines they have. Each logistic ship has an internal resource stockpile which is transferred into your empire stockpiles whenever they visit an Arkship. Oh my god, we've actually got a proper trade system with things having to go back and forth to facilitate trade. Holy crap. The stockpile can be viewed both in the fleet UI for logistic ships and the outliner. The collection of resources from waystations and dropping them off to Arkships can be automated. Oh wow, okay. So we're going to find out in a moment with waystations and waylines. Let me not spoil it. I won't spoil it. Let's jump ahead. When you're using a biological ship set, the logistic ships will be made out of meat. It seems like Arkships are never made out of meat, and they don't change the way they look based on your ship set. The Arkships themselves have 3 distinct looks, and I believe that is it. There are no changes based on ship set, which is a shame. Overall, I think it would be nice to have some changes based on ship set, but, hey ho, what can you do? What are waystations and how do they get used? Well, waystations are how nomadic empires exert influence over a system without claiming it, without owning it. Build no borders, own no worlds, something like that. Depending on the installed modules, waystations collect resources from celestial deposits, they observe pre-FTL civilizations, and allow for megastructure construction. So you'll be able to build megastructures in a system and own them as long as you have a waystation there. All waystations, regardless of level, use your station capacity. This differs from station capacity for starbases, where outposts are exempt. Incidentally, the devs are looking at having orbital rings and deep space citadels use 1 and 3 station capacity respectively. Oh my god, that's a massive nerf to deep space citadels. If we can put more than 2 in the same system, more than 3 in the same system, in some ways that's a buff, but overall I think that could be quite problematic. Orbital rings also using up station capacity. Wow, that's a real change. Instead of technologies related to improved starbases, nomadic empires gain access to technologies that improve their waystations and logistic ships. Here we can see that waystations give you +1 station capacity and unlock the ability to build them and own them. That is the starting tech you'll get. Then at the next tier you get improved Wayline Logistics, giving you +2 station cap, +2 logistic ship cap, and +25 logistic stockpile capacity, alongside the Waystation modules Repair Bay and Logistics Hub. I'm assuming Repair Bay allows your ships in the system to repair, and Logistics Hub is also going to give you a bonus to stockpile there, or possibly make logistic ships work a little better. I'd be interested to know if the Repair Bay and Logistics Hub also give an effect to whoever owns the actual system. If they do, if there's a symbiotic relationship here, that's pretty damn cool. You'll also get the upgraded version of a Waystation, the Wayport, and at the top level, advanced Wayline Logistics +2 more starbase capacity or station capacity, alongside +2 logistic ship cap and 25% more logistic ship stockpile cap. Okay, so let's dive into how Waystations look now. Waystations are shown on the game map as these red dotted lines. Additionally, they can cloak. Unlike Arkships, which I think should be able to cloak, Waystations, static Waystations, can be cloaked. So you can build an invisible network of Waystations, assuming someone's detection isn't very high, within another empire to steal or collect or utilize or symbiotically borrow some of their resources. We can also see here that they are collecting minerals, consumer goods, alloys, research, and energy. This Wayport is collecting a lot of different things. Wowzers. And we have access to a bunch of different modules, and there seems to be a build queue, plus a shipyard capacity available here. So we'll be building Waystations as a Nomad empire, so we will have some static platforms, but they can be cloaked, and additionally, they have the ability to build more ships, not just our Arkships. That's pretty critical to know. All Waystations have a maximum stockpile, and they're gaining resources every single month. Here we're getting 2 energy, 12 food, 7 physics, and 7 crystals. If we're getting enough research, this basically means we'll always have stored research and in essence double our research output, making Nomads kind of pretty potent there. They don't need as much actual research base to actually have twice the research compared to what it looks like they have. That's pretty interesting. Also, if you look at the modules here, you'll notice a bunch of new artwork that we've never seen before. We've got what looks like a shipyard, what looks like a deep space array of some sort on the bottom level there. That could either be the black hole or observatory, or it could also just be the module for getting more sensor range. Then we've got clearly a hydroponics bay. Then on the top, something to do with solar panels, something to do with computers, maybe that's combat. And the final one on the top left, what the hell is that? Is that like a reactor core of some kind? Interesting. Waystation stockpiles depend on installed modules and local system resources. So if you build your Waystation in an arc furnace system, I think you're going to be making bloody bank. If you build more than 2 Waystations and they are built in neighboring systems, they will automatically form a Wayline. These appear in the outliner as a single entry, with a dedicated UI to show all Waystations in that Wayline. This makes it, I think, a lot easier to work out what is where. Nomadic empires can build Waystations in systems owned by settled empires, though doing so will incur opinion penalties. Holy crap, we can't stop them, we can just not like them? Holy crap! Waystations can be built in systems owned by settled empires, though doing so will incur opinion penalties. This scales with the number of Waystations present and various policies of the empires involved. Holy crap! Does this mean we can't close our borders to Nomads? I need a fleet and I need it right now, and we need to shoot them on sight? Good lord. That does depend on whether or not we're getting bonuses out of the Waylines. Actually, if I'm a settled empire and I get bonuses, then I'm fine with this. So looking at the Lurus Wayline here, we're getting a Wayline modifier of +500 storage capacity and +1% research sharing from agreements, alongside 10% ship build speed in all systems and 5% more research produced in terms of physics and engineering from research stations. Overall, that doesn't seem like very much. That does not seem like very much to give up some sovereignty, to allow these interlopers into my territory. Here we can see one of the opinion penalties for having built unlicensed Waystations. Why are they called unlicensed Waystations? Well, let's not forget, everybody likes to negotiate and a deal can always be made. we can form a diplomatic agreement with settled empires to legalize the construction of waystations. Also, let's note here our opinion of them has gone down by 20 thanks to closed borders. Does this mean that we can't actually fly into their space, but somehow we've got waystations there? I'm not sure. Interestingly, on top of that, this seems to be relations with Sol, the United Nations of Earth. They have closed borders to us, but if you look at the map on the bottom right, that doesn't mean we can't fly into their space. Even though borders may be closed, we seem to still have access. So it's more kind of like a nominal, you can't come in here, naughty, naughty, but you still can. It's just kind of like a slap on the wrist offense. Your opinion might go down. What? Okay. I suppose it'd be really boring if you're playing as a nomadic empire and the entire galaxy hates you, and thus you simply cannot exist anywhere, and because the whole galaxy is owned, there's no unowned territory. In the late game, unowned territory is pretty much unheard of. But because the galaxy is basically entirely owned, if everyone closed borders and you couldn't enter closed borders, your ships would just be always in constant FTL retreat and you would have no empire, which would suck. So the way they've gotten around that, I assume, is allowing you to fly into closed borders. The alternative is that we could destroy and attack star bases to dismantle them instantly and then just keep them dismantled, but then we'd have to not have truces. Maybe it's better that the borders can't be permanently closed than having nomads that can ignore truces. That would probably be a lot worse. So the Wayline Pact removes the penalty, and you can sign this agreement with settled empires. This will allow us to form a Wayline Pact to jointly benefit from one another's Wayline networks. It seems like we can also form Wayline Pacts with other nomadic empires. Two nomadic empires with neighboring Waylines can sign a Wayline Pact. Regardless of the empires who've signed the agreement, a Wayline Pact allows for both to benefit from the Wayline modifiers of the other and for their Waylines to propagate each other's Wayline modifiers. Oh crap. So if you have two very long Waylines owned by two other nations and they sign Wayline Pacts with each other, it's kind of like they have one giant Wayline, one giant trade route. Waylines are, in essence, big trade routes, it seems. We're kind of getting a really interesting trade route mechanic added to Stellaris. Overall, I'm very excited by Waylines. I'm a little less excited by the way that Arkships look, but I'm very excited by the possibilities. What military capabilities will we have? Can I actually process other planets? Can I use the planetary reprocessor? What was it called? Let me just scroll down to the bottom of this damn thing again. It was called the... Let's just check this. Yes, the planetary reprocessor to have a giant mining laser, not a Colossus, a mining laser, and process other ships. Very interesting. Now we're going to look at one of the brand new origins, the Sacred Path. Don't forget, Stellaris is on sale right now alongside a host of Stellaris DLC. You can use our link to purchase Steam keys from the Paradox Interactive Store and also help to support this channel, or use our code MONTUPLAYS at the checkout. In fact, buying anything from the Paradox Interactive Store, including Stellaris Season 10 or Stellaris Nomads, will also help to support this channel. Okay, the Sacred Path origin. What is it and what does it do? Nomadic empires are defined by their wandering. But what if your wandering had a purpose? What if you were going on a pilgrimage? Ladies and gentlemen, CK3 has arrived. The Sacred Path is an origin for spiritualist empires whose ancestors left behind a set of star charts marking a number of sacred sites scattered across the galaxy. Your people believe they are duty-bound to find them. Whether that duty is divine obligation, historical curiosity, or just a really old story someone wrote down once, well, that is entirely up to you to discover. The Sacred Path disables settling. This is interesting because it means other origins should allow you to settle as a nomadic empire. You have to be nomadic, you get the Consecrated Community Arkship District alongside 3 new unique jobs that we'll look at in just a moment. I have to say as well, I really love the brand new background we're getting with stars. I hope the star changes based on where our capital Arkship is. I hope the imagery for the star in the Diplo screen changes based on where our Arkship is residing. If it doesn't, I'm going to be really upset because that's a massive opportunity missed. What is the Consecrated Community District? When you start with the Sacred Path, your Arkship comes equipped with a unique district specialization. This replaces the normal specialization that provides you with scientists and bureaucrats. And it also gives you a massive job swap. Your elite jobs will be swapped with High Pilgrims, which give you unity and they're very serious about the path. Your bureaucrats are converted into devoted adepts. These are specialist researchers and interpreters of scripture. They're going to produce society research, unity, trade, and amenities. They also make your ships faster apparently, which is very on brand for a nomadic priesthood. If we can stack enough of these and get enough sublight speed bonuses, does that then make our Arkships unkillable? Like if I can get plus 300% sublight speed, oh my goodness me, yes please. The faithful acolytes replace your civilians. This is the everyday faithful. They keep the lights on and food on the table, which even the most devout pilgrim appreciates. Your first decision comes almost immediately. After just 5 days of travel, so aka the start of the game, your council brings the ancient star charts forwards and asks the question everyone has been avoiding. Are you following this pilgrimage out of faith, or are you going to chart your own path? This choice influences which of your 3 classes benefits most in the early game, so it's worth thinking about your playstyle before you click. If you're going down the Covenant path from Halo, you probably want to choose the High Pilgrims. Maybe you could even call your Arkship High Charity. I'd also like to point out here, oh my goodness me, look, the hydroponic bays instead of farmers have such a cool look. I love some of this new art. And the RP Industrial Trade Quarter, wow. That, I hope, also gives us some trade jobs. Yes, I think it does. Look at the colony production. Oh my goodness me, that's so cool. I love that we're getting new district specializations. Wow, that's a little bit of wonder brought back into the game for me, actually. From this point at the start, the origin unfolds as a series of special projects your Arkship can complete. You'll need to survey sacred sites dotted around the entire galaxy. Each one is a remnant of your ancestors' journey. The devs aren't going to spoil all of them, but they will say that each site has a distinct identity and asks you a different question about faith, history, and what your empire actually believes. Here we can see the sacred site, the Eye. In the words of our ancestors, there is an unsleeping eye. We understand this to be a reference to an orbital observatory. I am what I am. I am my own special creation. Oh, good lord. The Cradle is a sacred location where your ancestors supposedly received divine guidance, except there's no physical evidence of any presence whatsoever. You can declare the faith validated anyway, or accept that history may have been embellished somewhere along the way. Both choices have consequences. The Intelligence is an ancient AI that greets your survey team with a message, "Worship is enabled, peace may now commence." You can venerate it, bring it aboard your Arkship, or destroy it. Oh my goodness me. So basically, we're going to find the mech sire, and we can allow the mech sire into our pulmonary organ. Ugh. I'm not sure I'm into the mech sire. Why do they have to subvert it with it being an AI? It's about faith, damn it! Faith! What happens at the very end of the path? Well, after you've visited all sites, your empire faces its defining moment. Was any of this real? Did the ancestors receive divine guidance? Or did they just write down a very good story? You can either say jubilations, the path was within us all along, or this is our crusade. And Deus Vult is probably going to be the most metal way to go. The Sacred Path is an origin for players who want their nomadic run to feel like a journey. One where the choices you make along the way shape not just your modifiers, but how your empire understands itself by the end of the game. The devs are really proud of how it came together, and they're excited to see which endings people gravitate towards. Bodge, or Boy, who had a strong hand in this, bets that the Intelligence will evoke strong opinions in the community. Yeah, I think so as well. Here is a quick sneak peek finally at the end of the dev diary into what we can expect from future dev diaries. So next week we're going to be looking at contracts, life on the Arkship, operational reserves, civilian Arkships, spinal mount planetary reprocessors, nomadic empires and their mega, no that's marked out, kilo structures alongside the Origin Forever crews. After that, we're looking at the new Defender of the Galaxy Ambition, Champions Forge Live, which is a new enclave, Nomadic Paragons, which are brand new Paragons. We've already seen what these look like, actually. The devs have shown this off in a video. Military Arkships and Arkship Combat, the Spinal Mount Devastator, and the Origin Heirs of the Khan. After that, when we get to the 4th of June, we're going to look at the Stellar Cannon, some Civics, the Spinal Mount Exodus Jump, Embarking and Settlement, so Empires possibly will be able to embark and go nomadic, or vice versa, become settled. I hope we have pretty much free reign in doing this. I hope I can embark, go somewhere else, and then settle again. That would be amazing. And new pre-scripted Empires. Finally, on the 11th of June, which is just a few days before the new DLC drops, I believe on the 15th, we're going to get the preliminary release notes and the Stellar Engine Spinal Mount. These dev diaries are going to be hefty. I'm going to keep covering them every week so we can find out what is coming in Stellaris Nomads. If you've enjoyed this video but it hasn't quite scratched your Stellaris itch, you may want to click the video on screen now.